Hey everybody, it's Caitlin Joe's Manga. So I'm here today with a video. I don't even know. We're gonna be doing a tutorial today. So first of all, I just want to say one thing is, Monday, I said I was gonna have Let's Plays on Monday. I kind of changed my mind since my computer is not very fond of me, and it doesn't want to record the sound of the game and what I'm saying at the same time, so I kind of decided to give up on that until I find a solution. I'm not even sure everyone's gonna like games or anything, so I know like Lemmy Crescent has like Bioshock and everyone loves that 'cause she's so funny. So, I don't really know. I'm probably not gonna do any Let's Plays because my art's mainly for, my channel's mainly for art. Yeah. So, what are we going to do today? Well, I need to start working on my request here. So, like I said, I was gonna go in order. I didn't want to do any other ones before I was doing that, so I'm kind of a little busy lately with some things, and I never really had found time to record. So today we are going to do a hand tutorial, which is number 1 on there. The Catgirl2462 requested it, and I think maybe a couple more people also requested it, but I already had it up there, so I'm like, this is the first person who requested it, so they get their name on there. So we just have some other papers here. So I think we should get started here. Once I clear my throat, because for no apparent reason it's getting weird. So here we go. Here we have Kitten Draws Manga's hand tutorial. So I don't really like all these hands except for this one anymore, because I did them a while ago. I'm like, oh, I like these. Now I'm like, oh no. So we aren't gonna do these hands today, but yeah. So what I'm going to do first is I'm gonna go through all the hands I've ever drawn in my sketchbook. As you can see, all these tabs here, all these purple tabs, like there. And I have a bunch of tabs and a bunch of other things, like this super old sketchbook that I only used for like a few drawings, like that horrible thing. This is really old. I used this like back like last summer or something like that. So yeah, I don't know, like a long time ago. And these drawings are pretty bad, except for that one's actually pretty cute. So I'll be going through all these things like this, and it's actually pretty good. And we will be making a speed paint of it. So I'm just gonna go through them without any noise or anything, and then I'm gonna speed it up so it's at least half of the time, and I'll try to close in on the hands so you can see them pretty well. Alright, so let's see here. Alright, so we're gonna do it like that. Alright, so let's get started. guys, so I'm back, and those are all the hands. Not all the hands I've ever drawn, but some of the best hands I've drawn, or in my opinion, because I don't really draw very good hands. So you may have seen this, which is actually I was using this as I guess you could say kind of practice for this tutorial. So yeah, I really like that hand, and we're gonna go over that eventually. Then you may have seen these, which is other hands that I've drawn before. Decided to bring them out because they're pretty good examples of different kind of hands that you can draw. So hands can do plenty of things because you got stuff you can do with your hands. You got like 5 different fingers that can be all out at the same time, do other things, and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, so I'm using kind of like technique process, and maybe like three different kinds of techniques. So I think I'm just gonna go over the first way today. Hopefully I can get this done pretty quickly because I don't want to take forever. So here we have our first way. So what I call this is beginner's guidelines because you're gonna be using a lot of guidelines, and it's gonna be for beginners since there's a bunch of guidelines. So this is more of like a tutorial where I'm actually showing you how to draw it using guidelines and step-by-step things like that. So it takes a bit of time, and it's for beginners here. So here are the steps that we're just gonna summarize really quick. So first we make the guidelines, then we add all the digits, and then we add details. So that's summarized, but it could be a lot more complicated than that. So I'm gonna take a piece of paper here, and how about we get started working on how to draw a hand. So what you do first when you draw a hand is you're gonna have a rectangle, and it's not gonna be a perfect rectangle, but we're gonna draw a perfect rectangle first. So that's as perfect as you really need to get it, because you're not gonna see this rectangle in the end. You're only gonna see 2 of the sides of the rectangle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna divide this rectangle up in the half here. And then we're gonna make it into fourths by cutting the half into half. So now we have 4 pretty equally sized lines here. Just gonna make it a bit more equal. I'm gonna try not to erase here because this is a tutorial and you don't wanna be messing people up by erasing lines. Alright. Then we're gonna have another line down the middle, like a little bit farther down than the middle. I'm gonna make this rectangle a little bit longer since I made it a little too short. Sorry for that, guys, if I didn't make it the right size. And we're gonna move this line to the middle of that, so it's just a little off. So there we go. So I recommend making the box this size before you ever start. Then you draw a line towards the middle, you draw this one down the middle, then you cut that in half. So, doesn't really look like a hand yet. I know what it looks like. I guess you could say it looks like, I really don't even know. It looks like one of those pizzas where it's got like this 8 pieces of it. Yeah, it looks like a pizza cut up in 8 pieces, like one of those square pizzas. Alright, so I'm gonna draw some pepperoni and mushrooms. No, yeah, that'd be fun. But we're not gonna do that. Now, what you're gonna do with this one side is you're gonna bring it down at a bit of an angle from the middle line here, and the angle's gonna go down just a little bit of an angle. So that's how we're gonna draw the first side of the hand, and we're gonna erase this guideline there because we don't want it to distract us. So that's the side of your hand, like right there. So with this hand that we're drawing right now, it could either be the back of your right hand or the palm of your left hand. So that's what we're drawing right now. Okay, we're gonna back up a little more, and now we're gonna start with the fingers. Now how you draw the fingers is, I'm just gonna turn this sideways really quick so I know what I'm doing. Now fingers are gonna be, you're gonna make a line as long as this box is. You're gonna make it here. So I'm just roughing it out. Now, as you can see, it's almost like there's two boxes here if you were to draw a line down, like so. So you have two equally sized boxes, except this one we already fixed the line there. So, this is how you're supposed to draw fingers here. We're gonna cut this into thirds. Try your best to get it into thirds. Now the top is gonna be a little less. And then, I think I made this one a little too low. So, sorry for having to erase this. Alright, so, now you have it like that. So it's almost in thirds, except this is a little bit smaller than these two. Now, let's start drawing the fingers, but first, before we do that, we need to make an arc, almost like a curve, and it's gonna be like this. It's kind of strange, you don't always have to draw it, but it really helps a lot, because all the fingers are different heights, and you want to get an idea of how they are, because if you think about it, there is an arc here. So, yeah, and the arc would start the middle finger and go down the same angle. So that's how it works. So let's start drawing the fingers. I'm going to start with the middle finger, so because it's the longest, and we can get an idea of how long the other finger should be. So, when you're drawing a finger, you want to be smaller to top than it is at the bottom. So we're going to start out making it wide and then getting it a little bit smaller, then curving it at the top and then going down, making it the same width as you go down of the other line. So two parallel lines with a little, well, not parallel, but kind of angled in, but almost parallel, with a little curve at the top. Then, is this focusing? Yes, it is. And we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to make the finger a little bit shorter. Now, when you're drawing the very bottom of the finger, it's not a straight, like, angle like this. You're not going to make the middle of the fingers like that. The middle of the fingers should really be more like curved. Like a little bit of a gap. Like a canyon, almost, I guess you could say. So there's some 3-fingered hands for you. I'm just going to cross those out so they're not in the way. Just makes me feel better that they're crossed out. Alright, so, ease. Now we're going to curve it at the very bottom right there. You don't always have to do this when you're drawing hands like this. You could always draw a line almost when you're drawing this side of the hand, because you can see there's these lines there. I'm gonna get a quick drink of whatever this is here, iced tea. Alright, so I'm going to go on to the next finger now. So the index and the ring finger are about the same height, so I'm just gonna draw them like so. Same height. Now the middle finger is the longest, so it's just gonna be a little bit longer than these two. Oh, that was a lot of frame. Oops. Oopsie, not good. Sorry if I go out of frame. I'm not very used to doing tutorials or anything where you have to stay in the frame. Then we're going to draw the pinky finger, which is a lot shorter. We're not necessarily going to use this guideline here since it's a little off, but the pinky finger is about up here, a little bit shorter than this guideline there. And we're going to draw it up and then down. So far we have the fingers and we have that one side of the hand. Now, a complicated finger to draw is the thumb, since it can have a weird shape and everyone's thumb is a little different, a little bit different in shape. So, yeah. Now the thumb starts at about this midline here. The muscle part of the thumb there. So, we're going to leave that to last, and we're going to treat this as if it is the back of the hand right now. So, all you really have is just the curve. And, yeah. So, what you do is you start to draw a curve down, like so. Doesn't have to be exact, because, I mean, there's no real way you can get this curve wrong, since it's a very easy curve to do. And then, this is quite a bit complicated. I'd use guidelines, but I like to do it like this because it gives you more of like a comfortable feel when you're doing it. So you're gonna draw kind of like an S, like that. I guess you could say it's backwards S. So as you can see there, the backwards S, and it's like a very tall S, very thin S, like it's been squished like that and pulled. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in a little bit. We're just gonna make a very small point there. It's gonna be a point at the end, right there. And then we're gonna go down, all the way down, and just a slight bit of a curve. You only need a curve. So that's pretty much the hand, though I think I do need to fix one thing. So sorry guys if I'm doing this right now, but we're gonna be fixing the ends of the fingers since they need to make it down to about that line there. So it's not the best hand I've ever done, but it's good for beginners and learning how to draw hands. So maybe I should just leave that line out right now, so ignore that one line I'm drawing. So now we're gonna erase all the guidelines. They're going bye-bye. So the wrist is not a big deal, but it goes like that. It just branches off the very bottom of that line and this line. Then you've got the wrist. Now this hand is not the best hand I've ever drawn. It looks a little weird, in fact, so I'm gonna fix it up. You kind of learn these things after drawing them for quite a while. You realize when it looks right or not. So yeah, it's not the best thumb I've drawn. I mean the whole hand, not the best thing. I don't think I like the thumb either. And I feel the fingers are kind of too thin, but I mean this is how you should do it as a beginner. Just get used to at least knowing where things go, not exactly how they look. So I mean there's quite a difference from this and my hand here. Quite a bit of a difference, because I think my fingers are shorter. That's how I'm used to it, but yeah. So right now this looks like the back of a hand. Now you do to make it the palm of a hand is you just add a little bit of a line there, maybe a little bit of a line there, and that's indicating that muscle right there on your hand and that muscle, like how they kind of come in right there and go like that. So yeah, that's about it for this kind of hand. I'm just gonna do one more hand, and this one's a bit easier and a bit faster. So I really don't think I'm gonna explain this, but I'm just gonna draw a long rectangle about that. And we're gonna make it this line here, making it a little bit bigger. So now we're going to draw these lines like so. Little bumps on top. You don't even need that one there. And we're gonna go down and we're gonna make these span out almost. And from the middle of the box down, we're gonna make lines like this that end and like a small finger, like a really fat finger, and they kind of fan towards this way a little bit. So we're going to draw this line right there and like that. So I drew a fist, and it actually looks pretty good. So I know I didn't explain it perfectly, like each and every single guideline you should use, but it's actually a lot easier than you think it is. And it's simple and it's not too hard to get wrong, since all it is a box, and then you add these lump thingies. And then you draw a thumb, which is just a line coming down at an angle there. And then another one of those long S's and a little curve. So there's a fist. And one last hand, which is, in my eyes, like one of the easiest ones you can do, is you're just going to draw the palm here, which is almost like a trapezoid. And then we're going to draw the fingers like we did last time, but this time we're going to have the middle finger and the ring finger together, since that does happen, especially in feminine hands, where the two fingers tend to go together. I've actually noticed myself do it more often than I used to. I never really noticed myself do it before until now. And we're gonna draw this little, almost like a wedge in there to indicate that there is two fingers there, but that they're still together. I'm gonna erase this guideline here. And then what we're going to do is we are going to draw the thumb, which is pretty much the same as the other one that we drew. So we're going to do the S, and I'm messing up with the S, and then we're going to draw that, and that thumb looks horrible, so I'm just going to redo this thumb. I'm sorry guys, I stink at thumbs. Alright, so that looks a lot better. That thumb, I guess. Who even knows? Oh, Caitlin doesn't, obviously. So, and then, like I said, if you want to make it the palm, you just add those two lines there. So, that didn't turn out as horrible as that one kind of did. So that one's actually fairly easy. And this goes more in the category of the next lesson, but let's make this. So how about I draw the guidelines now after I've done the actual picture itself. So we have this here, this box, and we cut it up in half and then four, like so. Ooh, got it pretty exact in my. Then we have the half of this. And if you really want to find out how long the thumb is, take about the half of this box here and make another one right there. So you have this box in thirds. Like you take this box that you already had and take half of it and add it to that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to draw this box and up. And that's all you really need to know. And this finger does go out a little more. It goes to about the size, half the size of this box. I mean, you could just make it go normal, or you can make it go out a little more. So if you guys can even see that, I'm going to make this a lot darker so it stands out against the guidelines. Alright, so I know I'm not very good at explaining how to draw anything. Like, I'm probably going to be better when I'm doing, maybe, let me think, need to find a paper. Maybe when I'm doing a hair coloring tutorial, I might, or the feet tutorial, I might be able to possibly, maybe, explain it better. I'm not sure. I'm not the best at explaining how to draw things exactly. Alright, so this hand turned out pretty well, actually. So use this hand, please, because it's beautiful. Yeah, there we go. Pretty nice hand. Then you can kind of see the guidelines. I tried to draw a lot darker than the guidelines in the background. There you go. Then the fist here is pretty much, I did not draw it in half and then in four, because that's essentially what it is. So, that's about it for part one, for the first way, which we have here. So we're gonna bring this out. So, it does take a bit of time, so this video might be a little over 20 minutes long, and I'm sorry if it is. It seems like it is. I don't want it to be too long. So, this is for beginners, since we're using a bunch of guidelines, and they're very simple hands. And then we make the guidelines, like we did here, except for this one we did it afterwards, but it gives you an idea of what guidelines you should use when you're done the hand. Then we used guidelines on this one. We kind of didn't use all the guidelines we could on this one. You don't really need many guidelines for that. Then we added the fingers and the thumb. Then we added some details, like on the inside there, and that didn't really need much detail, so. Except, I guess you could call these bumpy things, which are the knuckles. I guess you could call the knuckles details. So yeah. if you're doing the back of the hand, so let's erase some of these lines here on this hand, since I like this hand a lot. If you're going to be drawing knuckles on this hand, on any hand at all really, what you're going to do is, it's simply just the line here and the line here. So those are pretty much the knuckles. And the knuckles that kind of stand out most are your middle and your ring finger knuckles. Ooh, middle and ring finger. Ooh, really close up on my hand there. And yeah, so I really recommend looking at your own hand, because that's the best way to do anything. It's just look at your own hand, get an idea of what your hand looks like, and then try to work things out from your own hand. But if you're too lazy to do that, or you really don't like the look of your hand, then I recommend doing this first, and you would eventually get to the way, get to doing your own hand. So I need to drink real quick because my voice is getting all weird. Okay, I don't know why my voice gets so weird. It just does. I'm not sick or anything. I don't know, I have this weird thing where my voice gets like randomly raspy, so like it is right now. I wonder how to fix that problem. So here's the first way, which is called Beginner's Guidelines, and that's gonna be the name of this video. Part 1, Beginner's Guidelines. We're going to be getting to the second way, and the third way some other time. Whoa. Whoa. Focus. Okay, it's better. Right, so second way, and it's a lot faster than the first way, as it says there. And then the third way, so we're gonna get to those eventually, and I dropped my eraser. Alrighty, that's about it for this video. Sorry if it takes too long, but I did have the introduction, and I also had the little speed paint thing where we have all the best hands I've ever drawn. So I'm probably gonna throw this out, even though I love that hand. I love it so much, I don't know why, and I like that hand, but that one turned out poopy, so I might keep this hand. I'm gonna cut it out. Alright, ooh, that sounded really weird. I meant to say alright. Alright, let's finish this up. And so, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And this is part 1 of Caitlin Draws Manga's hand tutorial. So, bye everybody.